my spirit soars. In your embrace I found my shores. You're the light in the dark, a love that ignites a spark. Mon amour, me devant. Oh baby, je t'aime toujours. Stay put, hang in there, forever be mine, mon cœur. With you the future's too bright. You're my morning, you're my light. Quand je te regarde, je perds la voix. Tes yeux brillent, je sais que tu es ma foi. You're the song that plays in my soul. With you, my heart feels whole. Fais encore my one and only. In this dance we won't be lonely. Mon amour, me devant. Oh baby, je t'aime toujours. Stay put, hang in there, forever be mine, mon cœur. With you the future's too bright. You're my morning, you're my light. With you, love's eternity. In every heartbeat, you're my symphony.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're all welcome to TRK Multimedia. The name is Ata Bafo Jambra. You can call me the Royal King. Today, we are continuing with our episodes of the Sacrednes of Marriage. And as we've been doing it for every Saturday morning, we're talking about the relationship and some of the problems that comes in the relationship. And for this month, we've been on an episode that is titled Betty Broderick Case. It happened here in America in 1969. Up to date, the case is still pending, and the culprit is currently in prison. So that is what we've been discussing, just trying to get some of the fact and some of the advice we can get from it to also add it up to what we have, so that in our relationship, in our marriage, in our future endeavors, we will be able to, use it to solve our problem. You see, and say if we have a case like that, and if you have a case like that, and we can take some of it, it's welcome. So that is what we've been discussing. If today happened to be the first time that we see, and I say if you've not subscribed, if you are on TikTok, we are live on TikTok, on Facebook, and on YouTube currently. This is TRK Multimedia, and my name is Ata Bafo Jambra. You can call me the Royal King. So the issue is in 1969. This is what happened. A lady called Betty and a gentleman called Dan Broderick. They met in a college and fell in love. Then they decided to marry after 4 years. So after their marriage, they both came into an agreement or consensus that the lady will work to take care of the guy or the gentleman to pursue his career as a doctor. He went to school to become a doctor, and subsequently became a lawyer called medical malpractice attorney or medical malpractice lawyer. So they went through a whole lot. So looking at how many years it takes for someone to become a lawyer or a doctor, and then how many years it takes the person to become also a lawyer. It means, the lady in question worked really, really, really hard. You are welcome. You can tap the screen on TikTok and give us some like on YouTube and Facebook. It took a long time for this guy to achieve his dream. Subsequently, he became a lawyer. So after that, Council of Living Saints, you are welcome. So after that, the lady in question, meaning that she has not been able to pursue her career as herself, but the gentleman has been able to pursue his career to become a doctor and subsequently becoming a lawyer, very wealthy person making about $1 million. That is the assertion, or that is the claim that the lady said, that the husband is making about $1 million a year. Then the gentleman began an affair outside with a lady called Linda. Linda was a secretary in his office. So he began with this relationship. Then Betty saw it, asked the husband. The husband denied. After some time, he confirmed that yes, he's having an affair. At that time, the gentleman had made up his mind to divorce Linda, divorce Betty. So they subsequently divorced. They divorced. This Betty was crazy, very, very crazy about the issue. It appeared in court. But according to Betty, the guy used his influence as the president of the San Diego Bar Association, or San Diego Attorneys Association. He used his influence to make sure that Betty will not have any attorney, to represent him. That is what the story is saying. So the lady was so mad and so aggressive, and the lawyers of this Dan guy, the husband, said that the lady is having probably a psychiatric problem, so he need a psychiatric evaluation, which escalated the whole thing. And the length and the short is that the lady killed the Dan and the wife, which is Linda, because Dan married Linda. So that is what we've been discussing. That's what we've been talking about all these previous years. So I want you to join us as we talk about this very issue. It's very, very important. So if you see me, kind of busy here, I'm just trying to send it to you. We have, people that we've been discussing with our panels. So we have them, and by God's grace, one is here. I'm going to see if I can get. We are waiting for a while whilst we are playing the music. So this is what we've been discussing for the past 2 weeks or past 3 weeks. And today we will make sure that we will, maybe if we don't finish today, we will finish next week, God willing. So that is what is at stake. So if you are first time here, please subscribe to our channel. If you are on TikTok too, please, you can join us. If you like the story, you can join us and share your view.
In the rhythm of the night, we sway. Your laughter echoes like a summer day. With every glance.
If you just join us, please keep on tapping the screen on TikTok and give us some like and share the videos, or share the link on YouTube and Facebook. This is TRK Multimedia, and you can send us your messages on the comment section whilst we are discussing the issue, what you think and your questions and stuff. We're going to read them and see if we can answer them. Today we're going to have maybe in about not our usual 2 hours, because a lot of activities are on the line, so we're going to have maybe an hour and 20 minutes. So we have maybe about 5 minutes, 10 minutes more to wait for the other panels as they are coming, preparing to come. If not, we're going to go ahead and start the program.
You're my morning, you're my life. Quand je te regarde, je perds la voix. Tes yeux brillent, je sais que tu es ma foi. You're the song that plays in my soul. With you, my heart feels whole. Fais encore my one and only. In this dance, we won't be lonely. Mon amour, need the oh baby, je t'aime toujours. Stay put, hanging there, forever be mine, mon cœur. With you the future's too bright. You're my
Yeah, ebusuafo mutie yen ewo TikTok, ni Facebook, ni YouTube. Me din area taba for Jambra, utumi FM the Royal King. Pacho. Ni ana mekani na ne se ebia sebio sebi. Brofo no edoso emayen ya. Ni mekani na ne se ye ka aware ho nsem ne impinifo se ye fa obi asem safo na ide hini anase ide bie obi asem pono. Na nkoma a yebetwetwe no eye case bi a esi wo America 1969 still no era so e court in 7 days say that include ni sa na abaye bi a ye friend Betty one Dan omuhie mu e college me fancy university no mo fall in love omo do omo ho na 4 years later no mo worry after worry na chi no mo decide say oba na be ye adwuma na odi ahwe be ma na odi aboa support be ma na akọ school oba no edi ne boche so oye adwumaden wa woni America ha adwuma mienu miensa enan omaka bom na omo ye timbere mpo onye bi mpo na sabio odi edware anase odi ayaye nkai na ohwe ne mba bibia ono a no take responsibility dani eco school eba be ye doctor osanso to aso eba be ye lawyer e friend medical malpractice attorney no eno no ye lawyers a se bia hospital ebia okona edru na ede ma no edru no ya sunsun sanso bia utumi fa saafo ebi no ma ba be di ama no mu nim ndru no ne hospital anase health no ehun ne ama enu nti no saa branch ya baba ye lawyer penimpa ewo Ruby friend San Diego ewo America na after some time no ma wo oni beti no awo nkwara 4 omo 4 wie no o se onware biom nti no ofampena ye friend Linda na oni mpra we eware ye no oni beti ni jaye na beti no na dwumbo mu court emma beti ni restraining order ni ma bebri say restraining order na say omo ma no warning say mo no nko bibia be ma no wo no beti no anti na oyewe no say niema wa wonim na adwun abom ye bo asabi na atufa omo preso say beti ni ha no kura na say be ma ne lawyers say na o wadwum yare na America so de unya ka say obi wadwum yare na say ne wase ka fade ko prison ponkeye because unya the to so doctors ka say o wadwum yare a say no ma say wo life kura wo record no na asay kura say adwumi yare obi a say bi ofa nkwara ne sa na menema no yare to so de na ya say wo ani ti no yade eka say adwumi yare omo de ne ko psychiatric hospital ko hwema mu so ade no am say nche den ya adwumi yare sa omo yi no baaye eno na ma be oba no grow wild okukum be ma no ene ne yere no na yade na chesia no dem omo jeli na about 36 years or so edim na ade ba ko ne say in 7 ya kasa be 3 weeks ni ntiyentumi mbo niema ni na so biom Inti no se waba na wote se ye ka me giri se bi a se ne ame ka asem no you are beginning to have some interest ewa asem no mu dimpa cho so if you think say when you ho say obeka bi we discuss bi a enya ye ni nipa surunku bi a say omofo esoro especially TikTok asem bi a beka wo TikTok no eba ewo YouTube ya connect ye ne make sure say YouTube ni Facebook for mo hwe nsisi a so ombete wonde intini say wo for TikTok a mesre enye didi atem enye accusation obetumi etwa obi asem bi safwa obetumi etwa obi asem bi ho bi na wo de aba be ye mfato ho ya accuse obi but ye hwe kwanya be fa so afa asem no fa no say from sibre wo say ye kan say ya fa asem no mu aba ye so betumi e dey solve your future problems are ebi relationships no ebe to me aba eno na ye gusu a ye di hu nkomo yi nti no nkomo twetwe ne de ye brofo ni twi ne ye de afrafra medical aka brofo story no nti no twi so no ye guso na na me nso ma kyerkyere mu ewo twi ema wo nti no ye guso twen be ye sima ba ko mienu bi se Council of Living Saint oka panels na de bia ye no mo discuss no Council patch waba makwaba na ye wo enkrofo bi so ano so aya omo beka ye ho but sisia no ye ni mo bre igusua ba ko ama message se oba sisia oba dwane sisia enti no se asam de nipa ba ko kan hye den ye de ti na nka ye twen se ye be nipa ba ko mienu bi na abeka ye ho ansa na ya sha ase enye sa de ye sa mo bre enti no ye be sha ase ya ne sa na omo ba no mo ba dwane ya hallelujah neja ya toani ya yeso enti asem no ne nkomo no nyina no sa na eti sa na eti
Future's too bright. You're my morning, you're my light. Quand je te regarde, je perds la voix. Tes yeux brillent, je sais que tu es ma foi. You're the song that plays in my soul. With you, my heart feels whole. Fais encore my one and only. In this dance, we won't be lonely. Mon amour, need the one. Baby, je t'aime toujours. Stay put, hang in there. Forever be mine, mon cœur. With you, the future's too bright. You're my morning, you're my light. With you.
Council na me ka se utie na se TikTok no e back clear Mr. Bebre Mami thumbs up so no na check your Facebook so ne YouTube mami se no so e back clear pa cho Mami thumbs up na ye hwe se e be hye idwumadie na se se ye chicha abetie na nature ye tete abetie na nature no nti Council pa cho check these places mami na ye hye se ya sa.
In the rhythm of the night, we sway. Your laughter echoes like a summer day.
Okay, Council, thank you so much. Thank you for the clearance.
My spirit soars. In your embrace, I found my shores. You're the light in the dark, a love that ignites a spark. Mon amour, me do voice and travels through my dreams. Oh la la. Even when the stars fall down, your name shines in my heart's crown. You wanna quadra. It's only you. Makomare koswakodo. My heart keeps loving you. Mon amour, medo. Oh baby, je t'aime toujours. Stay put, hanging there, forever be mine. Mon cœur, with you the future.
Yeah, Mr. Baking Pacho, Akwaba, Edaba, Jimmy, Diano, Mr. Fred, TRK Multimedia, Midi, Eddie, Attack by Fort Jamra, to me, Ephraim, the Royal King. Yeah, cat story in the area, story in the area, Betty Broderick case, RAC War, America, 1969. That is what we are discussing. And he said, if you're interested in marriage and relationship, Pacho, be brave.
My only truth.
Yo, Mr. Jumamin, that also I say, oh, Facebook.
Just for you.
Currently, we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube and TikTok. And he said, if you're interested, you can join us on TikTok. Climb in the box and let's discuss about relationship.
We'll touch the sky.
So, and then yeah, if we're in a relationship and you see red flags before marriage, you see red flags. Is it something that you have to consider, or say ubu any eguso? We have a lot today to discuss, because Betty, Diana, I believe that Betty saw some red flags even in their relationship. It could be.
With you the
But Esan said maybe boy na who fair, boy na din nimuni adientino. He decided to ignore all the red flags and go ahead and marry.
in your arms,
Young say Papa Trump on account, so you knew what you were signing for.
forever yours.
When you decide to go ahead after the red flag, then you knew what you were signing for. So why do you have to complain? Council of Living saying, Pacho, obey to me and me too. Mawakwaba. Council Pacho, oh, what, Mawakwaba, Mr. Robibri, I owe me to who, Nayan Shasi, Anissa. Hello, Council. Pacho, oh.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. Pacho Mawakwaba, welcome.
Thank you, Chuck, and thank everyone for being here.
Frames, I can bring Pacho, my own so Akwaba, baby, frames.
Good morning.
Thank you, Chuck, and thank.
Oh, somebody opened something and double hurt. Pachana, Mama, Pamucho, case, you know, I know say we've been talking about a lot of about this particular case. Now, NCB, I think this is the last but one or so. So after next week, we make sure we complete it next week. But the whole thing is, and that you know, make sure see if you cancel. You are in a relationship. I believe Betty showed clear warning signs, escalating violence and other stuff. But Yen Shas here ain't free the fact that you think he said Betty saw some red flags during the relationship. And only Yen Shas here free during the relationship, you know. Who red flags are? Is it something I say who consider say, oh, maybe a man bet to me assessor, maybe your ban bet to me assessor. No we bu ni egu so. And I say it's something that we should take into consideration seriously.
Yes, in every relationship, in situations in life, red flags, and that's why it is red, means danger. It's something that you need to really, really take into consideration. You need to be very careful, especially when it comes to life and death issues. So it just like in this case, Betty case ended tragically, but there were red flags that you should have taken into consideration if either both ends or either community, friends, family, people should have intervened when all these red flags popping up. We can consider red flags in terms of what Betty showed, which was the over 500 threatening voicemails, and then the property distraction, psychiatric hospitalization, restraining orders that were violations, and also purchasing of gun, and then explicit kind of threats. They were all red flags that people saw, and it's sad to say nobody intervened. But that is to say, at the end of the issue, right? But from the beginning in the relationship, we can talk about the power and control issue. One partner, especially when one partner have all the finances, it is a red flag. It's something that can lead to issues or situations as we're seeing. This creates dependency that can turn violence in divorce. We can also talk about isolation. That is when you have isolated them from all their families, friends, and then also can be make the person very vulnerable. Then you got threats involved, maybe like in our African immigration issues, the person may use immigration as a control. You also have children. When we use children as weapons and weaponization of children, you can say, "Oh, if you leave me, I'll never, you never see the kids. I will tell the kids you're a bad parent." All those things goes into red flags. I mean, red flags doesn't necessarily have to be something big, but any little key points that is rising up, if you take very good care of it, you can see that those are red flags that will lead to a divorce, will lead to violence, will lead to something that is right. But the question, as you said, red flag doesn't mean that you have to leave the marriage, right? And it depends on the escalation. So when you see it at the back, most of us, there are some people, they handle red flags or situations differently. There are those that confront the issue right at the beginning and then stop it. And there are those that will just let it grow and say maybe moderate level risk, and before they intervene or try to find answers to the issue. But I'm one that if I see it, they say, like, if you see something, say something right from the beginning. Just discuss it. Just find ways to resolve it rather than making it escalate to a point where you can even kind of bat it or stop it. So we can also talk about red flags when it comes to entitled behavior, as we see very common with our case here. We can talk about success changes, personality, we all know, Dan Broderick pattern, lack of empathy, will be ruthless in the marriage, doesn't care about the partner's pain, the pain that she went through. And then, of course, as I said, the conflict. So yeah, red flags needs to be handled, but not necessarily end the relationship or into divorce.
Oh, okay. All right, Council, thank you so much. Frames, so Oshawa, red flags.
I don't even know what to say
Because red flags, honestly, said
because counsel has said all
said
of it. So
all.
meaning that
Oh, shall see.
he's
Okay.
toggled it from every angle. So
Who your bar, right? Who your bar? I am not normally not here.
okay,
For you to say how many times should example council talked about not necessarily leaving the relationship, right? But baby, say how many times, especially man, should a man see my nakedness? You know, how many men will see my nakedness even before marriage, or even before this, even before that? If you saw how say in as Obano,
yeah.
when you see red flags, how do you think you can? How are you going to tackle it?
Okay, so I don't think that Dan just woke up one day and decided to get a divorce. Right? He was having an affair.
Yeah.
She had found out about the affair. She had given him a warning, stay away from the lady, blah, blah, blah. But I think that as a woman, a lot of times we make it look like it's only the guy who can initiate divorce. And I don't know why she had to wait to get to the point for him to initiate it. You saw that he was having an affair. It's not like he messed around once and came and apologized. It was a continuous
Excuse me,
thing.
Pacho. J boss, Pacho, Frostro House, we are available, Pacho, Frostro Hamami, Pacho Cosmami.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She has seen it for a while, right? And I think every woman should always pay attention to your temperament. Okay. She knew she was spiraling down even before he went and married the woman that he was having an affair with. So, what I can tolerate, another woman cannot tolerate. So know your temperament, right? That's also a red flag. You not knowing what is too much for you. Is a so has she paid attention to her temperament, she would have known, okay, this is definitely too much for me. I can't do this. Right. And sometimes I think, I don't know how things would have gone, but maybe she would have been the one to initiate the divorce. She would have maybe had an upper hand as to what requirements she wants out of the divorce, right? Because of the cheating, I can't do it. I'm leaving the marriage. This is what I'm expecting, blah, blah, blah. But because he initiated it, he gets to say, I'm not giving you this amount of money. This is all I'm giving you, right? But she probably would have had a better case if she would have outlined all the things that she suffered as a cause of the marriage. Because of this, I don't think I can do the marriage anymore. I've been spiraling down, blah. She would have listed all that. Maybe she would have been able to walk away with what she was requesting. She would have walked away with what she was requesting. She would have been maybe happier, but because she didn't, she kind of was hoping things would get better. He got to put what he want, like he got to state, this is what you're getting out of the divorce. So he had controlled the marriage from the beginning all the way to the end. She never took power. She pretty much gave everything to him. Even for her to know the way he's doing is bad, let me walk away. She still gave him that decision to make. You know what I
Probably,
mean?
maybe she was thinking about the properties and how much she has lost because if you are all this time, to become a doctor, it takes a longer time and to become a lawyer as well. Until if you say,
Right.
free more, maybe she will be at the lost side.
Yeah, but they make kind of sense that, okay, like Unu Obi Oho, right? I don't know, every state is different, right? Like I think in the state of California, technically you're supposed to get 50%. I'm not sure if I'm right. So if you're supposed to get 50%, sometimes too, the person who initiates the divorce, they're the one who is able to draft what they believe divorce, right? So
Okay.
I'm the one that's filing. So I'm putting a divorce. This is the reason I'm getting a divorce. This is what I want out of it. I have this many kids, blah, blah, blah. But because she didn't do it, she has to contest what he's saying,
Oh, okay.
right? Because he filed.
He fired it.
Right?
Okay.
He filed. So he's able to put
Oh.
the things that he wants out of the divorce versus her having the upper hand, right?
Yeah.
So I think the red flag is when you're in a relationship and the person is having an affair and you see what it's doing to you emotionally and it's too much for you. So what you yourself as a woman, you know when it's time to walk away. Don't make excuses at that point. Just walk away. Just
Okay.
walk away.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Council, my young share, yin chat, near Koso, my movie, and Fenye, in Semina Yanka, that Lumba, the Akusha say, what it's understood to say, let it be pop up, like I say, it's a late. Say, Akusha say, what wrote first letter, initial letter of divorce, man, the lawyers actually let it be a buyer. In say that Lumba says into no open our area no. But people were complaining, why didn't that Lumba divorce her? Simply because of that, into that Lumba is who they call him a whole lot of names. But saying a frame say kind you also have okay. A Barney Bearman, a husband and a wife. Does one of them, any of them have upper hand to initiate divorce? And I say, we'll be able to initiate divorce, and go ahead and divorce. Whether you like it or not, I will divorce.
Yes, as kind of sister said, it's true. You have the right to say you are out of it, because back in those days, I think marriage was perceived as, especially with the religious side, Christianity, most people thought it was maybe God gave me you kind of thing, right? God gave me you kind of thing, and in the end, that means if God put two together, nobody puts them asunder. So necessary to say, not even the partners can put it asunder. And with that said, it becomes very, very challenging. I mean, depending on where you are coming from. And most of the times, because of we are limited somehow to where we are coming from in terms of our reality of marriage and our understanding of how it's supposed to be. So with that understanding, it becomes very difficult. And culturally, as we know, when it comes to marriage, the women don't necessarily get out of the marriage, because even no matter how bad it is, they go back and then their parents will say, go back to your marriage, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes very difficult for a woman, or I know most of the time the man can just put the woman out, so I'll throw your stuff out of the house, kind of thing. I'll leave you. So culturally, religiously, it's very difficult in a way for the women to kind of initiate the divorce.
Okay.
But the truth is that if we all agree that not all marriages, I mean, we've talked about cultural, legal, and then um, the religious type of marriage. So if not all marriages are from God, like God put you together, soulmates, you can never divorce and all that. And we are taking it on the face value as a relationship, which we say is marriage is the relationship sanctioned under these three types of marriages that I mentioned. Then when it gets, we talk about the red flags, when it becomes escalating, we always, from a Christian perspective, I encourage separation. When it becomes escalating red flags or situations, you separate so that you can understand, because when you are in it, it's difficult for you to understand the whole thing, but when you are out of it, you can reflect on what is going on and make the right decision. But it's always advisable that when the other one sees that is going on the wrong turn, as our sister said, you should be able to say, I'm out of this, right? When it's some situations, there's nothing you can do about it unless you want to become the second wife, like in Betty's case. She should have get out of it when the man eventually told him, I'm out of it, I'm going to have another woman, I'm going to marry. He came clean that he's now with another woman. That was then he should have seen a lawyer and begin the process to get out of it. If she didn't want to become a second wife, of course, which we know she would not have been.
Okay. Frames, you've been yes, Shas, according to your story, you've been in a situation like that before. A crossroad, when find say a crossroad, where a whole lot of I've been born idea with dream when it start popping up. As woman or as human or as anybody you think is could do you have the power to control, to decide, to stop? I'm talking about the red flags. There were red flags of violation of all signs of hospitalization, all the red flags is here. But do you think that Nanka Betty war quite able to be control now to prevent the killing? And I say killing now and then win it in one and the echo. Looking at what the other in fact kakra.
Okay, so and this all fitting and about it to it's a series of events that led to it, right?
Okay.
And now the way the mind works, what you feed it, right? You feed your mind with negative thoughts, and eventually, you go from stage one, stage two, stage three, and then it gets to that point, right? So I can't really say maybe there was a stage where she could have said, okay, this is too much, let me stop.
Let me stop. Okay.
Because that's how everybody's brain functions differently, right? And I think for her, because it had gone on for so long, she didn't know how to shut it off. It was at that point, it was just too much. In my situation, like I said, because there was an accident which prevented me from going there and doing what I was thinking, there was a roadblock, something blocked me, and then I stopped. But in
You
her
made a
case,
decision. When you
maybe
so could be after accident in the crown, still I'll go ahead. You made that decision.
yeah,
Say,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Oh,
after all, anyway, I've
but
seen a
for
sign, so let me
me,
back up.
I think for me, that time that I was sitting in an accident, I was sitting in traffic, was the time that I used to think, I was like, my family will miss me if I go to jail.
Okay.
If something, God forbid, something bad happened, and they say this is the reason it happened, like how silly is that? For me, that time that I was in traffic was the time for me to think. So I chose to do to a different route. I chose to think about the people that still need me around, right? I think in Betty's case, has she stopped? I think she focused so much on Dan and the fact that he gets to live a better life. He gets to be happy. If she would have focused on her kids, if I do this thing, my kids will never get to see me again.
Mm.
Right? My kids would never see me again. I'll be in jail for the rest of my life. This she didn't think about nothing else but getting revenge. And I think that's a very scary place for any human being to get to when all you can see is if I don't do this, then I'm not gonna feel better.
Mm.
In her head, she had to do that to justify why she was going through that pain. But had Betty thought about, oh my goodness, my kids.
Mm.
Who's gonna watch my kids when I'm not here?
Mm.
I don't think she even thought maybe she was gonna get away with it. I don't think she cared about covering it up. She
Mm.
just wanted to do it,
Mm.
right? So if she didn't have anybody, any roadblock, nothing blocking her, nothing getting in her way. So she had the opportunity, she had the time, she had the resources to do what she did,
Mm.
right? But if let's say she was driving and I don't know, something would have happened, or if her daughter never came to the house and she was able to steal the key. Yeah, like counsel said, her mind was locked and loaded on that thing. I'm not gonna feel good until I accomplish this particular thing.
Mm.
And that's a very dangerous place to get to when your mind is stuck on one thing. I did with my nyame hun to me.
Won't talk.
It was me. Yeah.
Mm.
And you know, I think that in Betty's case, she was far too gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it can happen to any woman.
Mm.
You know, you can be far too gone. Just don't get to that point. Me, I'm just grateful I didn't get to that point.
Amen.
Because I mean, imagine I could do someone any about a children will be at so waiting from that prison. We are some pa.
You think away slave we now going to win slave.
Ah, you know, unko demu kwan so obesa so any oba fufuro.
Oh yes.
That is the sad part.
Mm-hmm.
Nipa na onu tu kodi someone you know, they're still gonna be with the other person. It's not gonna change anything. It's only gonna make you lose your freedom.
Mm.
And I don't think any human being is worth me losing my freedom over.
No.
Nobody.
Mm.
Yeah. So
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Frames, and thank you, Council of Living Saints. We're going to pause for music a little bit, and then we will continue.
When my heart smells you from afar, your scent travels through my dreams, oh la la.
Opportunity, we're feeling Mamina Akwaba. You all welcome to our page. We are discussing about an incident
In my heart's crown. You wanna
that happened in 1969 in the United States here. Said there was this lady called Betty. Met her love in college called Dan. They fell in love, they married after 4 years. Then they made a decision. They decided that Betty will work to take care of or help or support Dan to go to school or pursue his career. After Dan pursuing his career, becoming a lawyer, sometime Dan started another affair outside. At that time, Betty already had 4 kids for him. So Dan decided to divorce Betty and go for the younger one called Linda. She was 20 years. And who some in a year can say and say, oh, YouTube, oh, Facebook, oh, TikTok, I'll be to me, I contribute. You can send your message to the comment section on Facebook and YouTube. If you're on TikTok, you can send your message and you can climb in the box as well. Let's talk about relationships. Yes, Obi who has some being a Ukraine, they are share Obi who did. And as Obi has some Safwan, Ukraine, they be a simple. And there, about the yard, your Council of Living Saint, your friends at a cabaret, and so over here. Me, I made you media in Chairman meeting at the attack bar for Jambra to me, Ephraim, the Royal King. Oh, baby. Then the kind I would say our YouTube and Facebook and Patchable to me, subscribe to our channel on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, and on TikTok, follow us on TikTok as well. Every Saturday, we talk about relationships. We talk about sports, relationship, and a lot of educational, things. He's user 8880. Thank you so much for joining.
Alright.
All the users, confidence, you are all welcome.
Yours through day and night.
Okay, Castle of Living Saint in Pacho. It was also looking at the signs, all the signs, Betty show you. Red flags, red flags, red flags. Castle of Living Saint in Pacho.
No,
Okay, yo. All right, me share all the red flags now, Betty, a show, Wakoto 2 or say Niama. Dan, do you think Dan are down for 4 or quite come to me? Someone protect it and someone stop with Betty Crumble to me a protect Dan Nankasa. A quan who will be wa. Would ye for me share Musa men me your down for. And I be a me yere a share BBC as a quan ben I'll be for so I'll be boami send your BBC ANC. And escalate to that point.
Yeah, I mean, this issue, Dan's definitely friends might have seen it, but as we're talking about friends, we're looking at the friends that would be able to step in, either morally or encouraging which way he was going. So looking at where it ended, we can say maybe the friends encourage him to take a path as divorcing the woman, encourage him with a new girl, attended the wedding with Linda. So yes, the friends here did not intervene. I mean, how are you looking at favorably to Dan or favorably to Betty? So it's sad that they didn't intervene. Morally looking at the story in the right end. So if friends with Dan, when this whole thing began, you should have let him know, hey, you can't do that, right? It's not good. It's not righteous for you to have an affair whilst married to the woman. If you don't want the woman, just leave the woman and settle her all right, because she invested so much in you, made you who not to say necessarily in holistic way you can say, oh, he made you who you are, because we know a lot of things comes into what a person is, but she contributed heavily to where he was. So yes, tell him to stop that. And when if he didn't stop it, I mean, intervene in a way, also talking to Linda that hey, the man is married and it has consequences when you intervene into people's marriage. Consider the children. If it were you, somebody do that to you, would that, I mean, talk to, if the church that he goes involve the community to stop it right where the red flag started. But let's say that one too didn't work. So Dan continued to marry the woman as friends on the right. I mean, it would be very difficult as a Christian for me to attend such a wedding, especially if a friend of you, perhaps I may know Betty too, that I would attend such a wedding. So at that point, you begin to either you are staying so much away, not to say leave him, he's still a friend, but try to get Betty the help that she needs, right? So if I'm a friend with him and also a friend with Betty, I'll begin to advise Betty now that hey, the guy has left you, so the marriage, consider it void, or if unless you want to be a second wife. If no, then try to find help. Right now, you begin to find ways you can help Betty, get her the needed psychiatric treatment, get her the needed lawyer. But still on then, right? At this point, he has divorced the woman, married another woman, but you know about Betty, or you don't even know about Betty. You need to be advising her, hey, how is it going? How are you treating the woman? I mean, you left her, you took the children from her, you didn't give her how much that she wanted. She's threatening. I mean, she's sending you all these voice messages. If you're still with him as a friend, right? Maybe you became a friend with him when he divorced the woman, right? So then at that moment you are telling her, hey, I've seen this your ex, this is going on. Hey, you got to be careful. You got to be taking all the precautionary measures as to protecting yourself and protecting your the woman that you've now married, right? So yes, there's so many points, intersection points where people could have intervened as friends, families, and community to really, really, I mean, if nothing at all, to really help Betty, if not to avert the tragic death.
Okay. That's a more. So which of the which institution should have come in because minim say sense we be brace ebinum etia futuo ebinum decide say nia meye ne meye wo hwe a yɛde ne kɔ psychiatric home wohwɛ a yɛde ne ba fie institution bɛn na nanka ɔwɔ ho kwan sɛ maybe we will put some measures to stop all this in case it happens something like this anka wode yɛmfa no bɛti institution bɛn pa na nanka ɔwɔ ho kwan sɛ yɛbɛ stop Betty from becoming or her situation from escalating. Eye ne papa ne maame. Eye adam fofo. Eye ne mano. Ana eye government institution be. Frames. Minim say
I
question na
mean,
dey.
she,
Minim say question na
yeah,
dey, but
because I think she had a restraining order, right?
And today
And
say
she
government
still,
here need there.
they did their part, right? But this is the thing with restraining orders that they put it in place, right? But as far as it being enforced, they can't do anything unless the person calls and say, "Hey, remember we have a restraining order in place, and this person is still harassing me." I think in Dan's case, he didn't take Betty's threats as serious as he should have because the government institution or the law enforcement can only step in based on the information you give them. Right? They can't just come and arrest your ex-wife because she's calling you so many times. Have you made complaints? Have you put evidence? I mean, he's a lawyer. Come on, he knows these things, right? Even though his type of law doesn't involve criminal, I mean, different type of law, but still, he knows that evidence that he could have presented to the court. Hey, listen, I've already placed a restraining order, but I'm still receiving this. And then knowing that she had put those type of threats, he had the money to protect himself more. How was it that easy for her to get in a house? You know what I mean? You had the money. Why don't you have a gate? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? You know the type of person you're dealing with. Why didn't you move?
Move to a different
Out of
place, different location.
move to a different state. The thing is, sometimes people that have power and they have this type of money, they think, "Oh, you can't really do anything to me because do you know who I am?" I think Dan undermined Betty. He undermined her threats and he undermined how far she can go. Because if he thought, yo, all jokes aside, this lady is very dangerous, he would have moved. He would have put things in order to protect himself. So in this case, I don't put the blame on her parents. There's nothing they could have done. I don't put the blame on law enforcement because they did their part by putting the restraining order. I will put the blame on Dan that he didn't take her serious and that he didn't put measures in place to protect himself. Because if I know somebody threatening me, I'm going to make sure every way possible for you to stay away from me. A restraining order is not enough. He should have gone further. So in this case, I don't have anybody else to blame but Dan.
I will not blame anybody either. But if I were to be a psychologist, I were to be in a government institution, those we say society now you live, Bibini almost say we don't need to involve the kids. So what if that? Oh, don't involve the kids in
Oh
this.
yeah.
Don't involve
They
the
are
kids.
innocent.
But they are innocent. But trust me, I don't know how old the kids were. But
Maybe the oldest two, no.
they could have done something. There was a time I was watching this movie, 24 Hours. Jack Bauer. Sewasha, 24 Hours. Achepa. And there was this man, like as a terrorist, or or threatened to obey ye, obey Kunkrofo Bibrinia dear. Almost try some who be as a woody adi eshe. Say, me liberty a language, Nika Crantin American, Almost try some who be a woody adi in but Oma ye be an answer upon why an argues up so obe umbukuno. But no more ye be because a beku hundreds of thousands of people. But almost kofa ne mba be mu. Ne mba ne be mu pe na odwojo ye. Ni amechire ne say if inkwala na enyi a ombetumi akasa. Question we dey come mu na wa obetumi aye you know. Inkwala na enyi ombetumi akasa say media nke bia ye be involve nkwara no. Talk to mama. Mama are aggressive because ebisu a institution na etwa omuhu na ehia no they didn't see Betty acting to that point. Maybe they saw obey gidi, but not to the point that ebi kura po no ankasa ne life no kura no etu kura mbo so kura da. Maybe they didn't see it coming. But me dey nanka me amiti say bia me ye bibi na me buefu pa. Na se o ka se mintie me yere me nyese ba se me mba e ba me nchen. Daddy, are you okay? You are not smiling this morning. Ebi asese no mehwe me ubefu but medwe ni ankwala no so e ka no ho. Na dey na ma ya ankwala ye hu. Nti to me na ebi ankwala ni be mu e ka say mommy calm down please. This is nka ebia nka ma me escalate. Cancer, do you think so? Cancer oh. Okay, frames mpacho obo to me ahwe. Obo to me I tackle this one.
I think say concurrent be man kebe
Nke betumi aboa.
in a way.
Mm.
In a way because say nkwan ne papa ne neti o.
Oh.
Na say nkwan ne papa ne neti. Na o hwe ne papa no na ne nsam ye din. I mean nsam ye do, right? He's the one who financially has a lot. And with the way kids' mind works, the parent that gets you the most things is your favorite parent.
Your favorite. Yeah,
But the sika say nkran no.
Mm.
Oh, or to we ma omo, or yes say, and crying for house up papa team, it be a making cry stepmother no, she's nice. On crying shed any problem be a bedroom who free papa no, I can be a mama no. Oh, mind you, mama at that time we called psychiatric or you see, ain't he papa no crab it me a couch and cancer, oh mammy, we're very unstable, shady oye. Say ni say man crying ben no they as on be slow kakra like omo who say papa ni mom na aye bibi wrong ga wa fa ma me na chi ene obi foforo akọ ene ne ti o.
But frames in America say sorry to carry up. In America say institutions, you know, omo boa beti no. So what does here? Ebi psychologist, ebi the court, ebi police system. Wow, unia CID kuna or handle this case, you know. Could have seen this and no, I see this coming. But yeah, I don't know yen use nkwarai. Inti enye se nkwarane na omo de omo pe ebe koma amenu ho. So
Omo na be frank kwa so omo be
kendi. Ombe coaching Korano what to say and how to go about it. Sometimes it happens. And
it does, but say looking at my when you see back then those time now even psychologists crampono they be a school ni be a ho esua nyoma bi. So I think the resources and the way they should have gone about it back then no they didn't know say umbetimi afasa kwan we so and now 2026 maybe different but back then no it be a better case na shut down doors so they didn't have the research to know say so bad start in your say yen fan crying brim yen say so to respective of the date na say some course no na nyoma be na nimie be brim maye then no I think say senke nedia it would have worked. But back then, I don't think anybody was thinking about saying, let's involve the kids.
The kids. Because it was a krum hankra no bibi ni aso mamon fa enye krum hanko. Gani na mamon fa nkwara di mbim, mamon fa nkwara di mbim, omususa. But media minim say nkwara ebata papa no ne nani na akoma ho. Aje se wunya papa bi a ono no wo ye de amintiu, ana wunya maami bi a wo ye de amintiu. But aside that ne de case ni escalate to this point will be into mimbemu a me say nkwara ni disu ene nkotodwe ne adesrede echewopa e de to omo maame ana omo papa enimu a maybe would have
Oh
worked.
yeah, and I think said that it has the power to change things.
Mm.
I think said the children, especially the Omenia Fikakran,
Mm-hmm.
they would have been the best ones to talk to
Mm.
because they would be more understanding. And I even crying Ketwano.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so mutimi the soon
Umudi
yeah,
soon.
to be the
Aha.
manipulate
Yes.
parents,
Yes.
decision. And tis and be a baby sa happy and kabeti koda koveka say, ah, dear me koye. She said him cry soon, yes, and my
Yes.
main
And then I almost ran emotional blackmail, no. But me using
mm,
Kolano to at least kind of, though you are blackmailing her, but if it worked, it
it's
works.
to get a good
Yes.
result,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I
Frames, thank
think
you so.
it's what.
Yeah, okay, Bebua. You know, I say, cancel oh. Na cancel or call here and what cancel what other for long time. Are you sleeping? Okay. Cancel. Now we talked about involving the kids. Senka and Kwalani Eshe na ubia can be a enye. Ubia can be enye ye. What the everyone say, it be a what I say we are to. Oh, you cows mean penny. Papa cows who mean penny. What for cows who jani okay cano. But Nkwalano, because of the special attachment and bonding you have for the kids, do you think say nka police and I say whoever was handling the case, o coaching Nkwalano and Nkwalano be more because Nkwalano de binim so omu hu yansa ankasa enko omo maame ho ana omo papa no omo kakasa. But omo tumi afrɛ Nkwalano omo mo handle case e coach what to do and how to come in with their supervision. Ufi say nka no so embo ana.
Oh, definitely. That could really help. And to what extent we can really say because of how bad her mental state and frame was. Right? The lock mind, I call it a lock mind, is we human beings are vulnerable in terms of how our minds operate and things that influences our mind. So over time, how the mind has grown and then the mind has locked on kind of getting back at Dan at some point, right? It can be very, very impossible. It can be even the children emotional blackmail, emotional assistance would not even help. But as we know, it's worth trying, right? Everything under the sun was worth trying to save her, to save the Dan and then Linda. So yes, it would have helped, but we need to understand that the mind is such that when it gets to a particular point, then I would say at that point they should have probably initiated an inventory hold. They should have somehow had her perhaps against her will. And then the reason why most, for all that we've said, the community institution couldn't involve is that we as human beings have our sovereign kind of will and our sovereign state in a sense that nobody can just intervene unless we know that definitely is against somebody's life or against your own life, like suicidal or you want to kill somebody, then we would have to intervene by force. But I think with Betty, definitely somebody calling out on some form of inventory hold could have helped or is legitimate in that sense with looking at how her mindset or her mind frame, mental condition was.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Sisi ano and then yenya dia yebeche bebre because we have another program coming up, another live program after this one. Into no yebeche mo final submission. Today we talked about Betty's case in the warning signs that omo around, nkrofo hu ye Betty Dan Adamfo Betty Adamfo police department, the court, all the warning signs are but yet they tried their best, restraining order and whatever, but it didn't work in how probably they could have handled the case. Into the bium ewo council hall, your final word to those who are watching, if you encounter a problem like this, what you should do and what are some of the things that you bet me ebetumi esi we ano kan yin a ye yada for ne for society no.
Yes, thank you, Jackie, and thank you, Praise. So sometimes it's very hard, right, to just say one blanket word that cuts across for all relationship, especially when we know that not all relationship kind of is religious and should be forever till death do us apart. And there is God to heal, to amend, to help us in all the challenges and situations that we are going through. Since we know that there are some, they're just relationship, they just met on the side and they just got married, and one is treating the other so bad, and we need to advise those ones to also to get out. That's where the challenge is. But in all, we would say do not kind of overlook red flags. Either the man is cheating, the woman is cheating. There are things that makes like metrics or indicators that says that, hey, this relationship is unhealthy. um, just keep an eye on those things. Find ways to solve it. And as I said, need be separate. Try to think about it, reflect it, get professional help when needed, and try to, in the end, as I say, the first law is survival. I mean, when you know your life is at risk, I mean, the person has warned, especially when the person says, I'll kill you, I'll let you suffer, I'll show you, I would send you to hell. Or, I mean, normally they will not say, I'll send you to heaven, because they want the worst, the worst thing to happen to you. These are threats that you don't take them lightly. I mean, we joke about a lot of things in life, but when people give you threats, your life, I mean, you got to be very careful. You got to be careful, and then find ways to, I mean, at the end of the day, if you can't save the person, you find ways to save yourself. As we always say in the plane, you need to get yourself some oxygen first before you give others. So yes, we need to. But in the end, from Christian perspective, I pray that all marriages heal, those that are all relationships heal, and people find their truth, their purpose, and life and joy and happiness in marriage, as we all have perceived or believe it to be.
All right, thank you. Frames, your last advice to those watching and those who probably in the future might encounter a problem like this.
Um, how do I say this? Just think about your freedom. Nobody is worth you losing your freedom. Okay. Think about the people you will leave behind. Mm, just think about the mess that it will create, right? When your mind gets to that point of no return, I have to do this, I have to do that, you know. And also, like counsel said, if you see the red flags, don't ignore them.
Mm,
Don't ignore them. Also, take every threat very serious. Don't take anything for face value. Don't think it's a joke, okay? Because sometimes we think, oh, nipa won't mean a shade and obey me.
mm,
As a ubu and ugu nyoma bebre, so extra too much, and so I enye.
mm,
Ɔbaa na wo relationship mu na wohwɛ na baabi a ɛkeka kɔ no boa wo. Ɛntwɛn mma w'abusuafoɔ a na obi mbɛka kyerɛ wo sɛ awareɛ no a wote ho no ɛmboa wo gyae.
mm,
Waa wonim wo ho. Wonim sɛ adeɛ wei mentumi.
mm,
Gyae mu ma no nka. I know it's easily said than done, right? Because you think about the years you've invested,
mm,
all and how you're just gonna let all that go. But trust me, if it's meow pana untumia, jemu,
mm,
let it go. It's not worth holding on to something that say, wow, show who said me no be me. I think so negative. All of a sudden you are thinking negative. I dream bonny baby, but
mm,
which means that you've gotten too far. No, I deal with yeah, nyami china all this stuff, but mean to me.
mm,
Oh, it's no shana to me. Jim, why?
mm. Okay, thank you so much, Frames. Thank you, Council of Living Saints, and thank you those who watched us. Mike Beauty, she the Ben, you are welcome to my program. The veteran, you are also here. Welcome to the program. Today we talked about relationships. Said yeah, as we've been doing always, Obi asem safo ID bi obi asem pono. Honestly, this case, I'm me be my dream one yama bebre. Obu our relationship na say ofri mu owumpa or say enkwala nti obi say or say da chi asem nti ebi ankrofo ho mbetumi aboa wo asolve asem we. And so the shagun kwa ho a ebetumi escalate ma we di body. Aha eyetia ke multimedia medi ede ata ba for Jambra utumi eframe the Royal King. And that minute frames Adakabre and the Council of Living Saints in the Betchin and Common. Usually I am about 2 good hours, but and then you will another program coming that we don't want to miss. Also light programming about 50 minutes, Yeah, the live commentary between Sudan and Senegal. That is the ongoing African Cup of Nations at Air Kosovo, Air War, Morocco. For the live commentary, live discussions and reactions. And into the program is immediately say you enjoyed it. Probably you might be watching us from YouTube. You might be watching us from TikTok and Facebook. That's it. Thank you so much for joining, and thanks to those who commented. Thanks to those who liked it. Next week by this time, no, you better so Asia bium. Obadiye enka mwina moho. Bye bye.
When my heart smells you from afar, your scent travels through my dreams, oh la la.